Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Greater Miami Expressway Agency August 2026 Board Meeting. I would like to call our meeting to order at 9 a.m. I ask Board, Member Espino to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. You, sir. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Board Secretary, please conduct a roll call, board members.
Good morning. Board Member Blanco,
Present.
Board Member Cortina,
Present.
Board Member Espino, Board Member Iglesias,
Present.
Board Member Peterman,
Present.
Board Member Rigaud,
Present.
Treasurer Cancio,
Present.
Vice Chair Pages,
Present.
Chair Perez.
Present. Thank you. We will now adopt the agenda. The agenda has been previously distributed to all board members. For the review, board members, do you have any requested corrections or additions to the agenda?
I move to adopt.
Okay, hearing no corrections, the agenda is adopted.
Second. Second.
Thank you. Moving along, we have item 5, the declaration of voting conflicts. I now ask board members, do you have any conflicts today based on the items listed on the consent agenda or regular agenda?
I have a conflict on item 9D.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you. Next up is public comments. If any member of the public wishes to address the board, you'll be given 3 minutes to speak. Mr. Garcia, do we have any members of the public who have signed up to speak?
No, Madam Chair, we have no members of the public.
Okay. All right, next on our agenda is item 7, approval of the meeting minutes from our June 11th, 2026 GMX board meeting. Board members, you've had an opportunity to review the minutes from the June board meeting. Is a discussion needed on this item, or is there a motion for approval of the meeting minutes? Motion?
I make a motion.
Second.
Any final discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Of the motion, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Next is item 8, the consent agenda. I ask our general counsel to read this item into the record.
Good morning. There are 4 items on the consent agenda today. Travel approval and ratification for Executive Director Garcia. The first is June 18th through 19th, 2026. He attended the FBT 2026 Transportation Summit in Orlando, Florida. And on June 28th through the 30th, 2026, attended the IBTTA Maintenance and Engineering Workshop in New Orleans, Louisiana. On November 11th through 12th, 2026, he'll be attending the Florida Automated Vehicle Summit in Orlando, Florida. And November 12th through the 15th, 2026, the IBTTA Annual Meeting in Arlington, Texas.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to approve the consent?
I got a question,
Go ahead.
and I guess it's to the executive director. These travel conferences or meetings, are they contained already in our budget when we approved it?
Yeah, I think it's part of my, under the Executive Director's budget.
Right. So I'm just wondering, is it a redundancy to have to approve it again, right? So we approve the budget, and there's line items with specific events that we approve, right? Or is just a,
Yeah, it's not a specific event, it's just, I got a general budget category, and then when I travel, it comes out of that, but, out of that budget item.
okay. It just seemed like we're approving this twice. That's it.
And if I may, through the chair, the 2 of these are retroactive because I was asked to attend these conferences after our June 11th board meeting.
Board Member Conti, you're recognized.
Thank you. I just think it's good form to know where you are and what you're doing. I think I like it.
I move to adopt.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, any final discussion? All in favor of approval of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Now we can proceed with the regular agenda. I will ask Executive Director to introduce the first item listed in today's regular agenda.
Yes, thank you. Once again, Madam Chair, item A on today's agenda is presented to the board for approval of the highest rental offers received for the leases of parcel numbers 83615-834, 874-500BC, 878-500B, 878-500C, 878-500D, and 878-501A. We also seek authorization to negotiate final lease terms and execute lease agreements in accordance with GMX policy. All of these parcels were previously declared as excess real properties. In the month of April of 2026, GMX obtained independent market rental analysis appraisals prepared by a licensed real estate appraiser. The appraisals were reviewed for compliance by a second independent appraiser. Following receipt of the approved market rental analysis appraisals, existing month-to-month tenants were provided first right of refusal and the opportunity to submit rental offers for their respective parcels. For parcels with existing tenants who declined to exercise their first right of refusal, the parcels were subsequently listed in the Miami Association of Realtors Multiple Listing Service, or MLS, for public marketing. The highest offers received for all 6 parcels equal the independently appraised market rental values, resulting in no variance between the appraised rental rates and the proposed lease revenues. Collectively, the leases are expected to generate $471,720 in annual revenue for the agency. To the extent the term of any proposed lease listed below commences prior to August 11th of 2026, upon approval and execution, this item shall apply retroactively. Approval of these leases advances GMX's strategic goal of maximizing the value of excess real property assets by converting underutilized property into recurring revenue-generating assets. The leases will generate approximately, as I stated, $471,000 in annual revenue while helping offset the agency's operating and maintenance costs associated with these excess properties.
Thank you. Are there any questions or is there a need for board discussion from?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Yeah.
Board Member Peterman, you're
We currently
recognized.
receive some lease revenue from these properties, right?
We do.
And what is the current amount versus what we're gonna get?
Claudia, do you have those numbers?
Yes. So the current amount for these 6 parcels is 195,000. So this equates to roughly 2.4 or 2.5 times that. So the previous leases were adjusted through CPI, but as we know, inflation has outpaced CPI. So we're adjusting it to today's market values.
All right, thank you.
Yeah,
Board Member Espino, you're recognized.
I asked this question the other day, is how long are these leases?
So these are 3-year leases that we're doing. Like Rafael said, it helps us offset some of the maintenance costs because all these parcels have certain conditions on them. They can't build any permanent structures or any sort of infrastructure. They're typically used for storage. And all these parcels that are listed here are either adjacent to the highway or underneath one of our highways. So we also need to have access to the parcel at a moment's notice to do any sort of maintenance or repair on the bridges. And those are the conditions of the terms of the leases.
So all of them are 3-year leases?
That's all of them except for one of them. One of them is on a month-to-month basis. The ones particularly at 874 and Sunset 72nd Street, for the reason that we're going to be doing the 87413 project, and we're going to need that parcel in about a year's time. So that one is the Goodwill lease parcel, and that one's going to be on a month-to-month basis.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Is there a motion to approve? Is there a second? Okay. Any final discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passes. Mr. Garcia, please introduce item B on our regular agenda.
Yes, Madam Chair. Item B today is presented to you for a motion to approve a contract award to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, Safety Systems Barricades Corporation. On June 12, 2026, GMX released invitation to bid number ITB-26-12, seeking bids from qualified contractors to provide construction services for system-wide speed feedback sign deployment. This work includes the installation of 9 new sets of speed feedback sign assemblies at locations throughout the GMX system. These speed feedback signs are designed to enhance roadway safety by displaying a driver's current speed in real time and notifying drivers when they exceed the posted speed limit. By increasing driver awareness and encouraging voluntary speed compliance, these signs help reduce speed-related incidents and improve overall safety. I'll ask Mr. Diaferia to provide additional information for the board on this ITB.
So these locations were selected based on a study that we performed that identified areas of habitual speeding and or accidents, high rate of accidents in tangent sections. The bid that we received from Systems Barricade, we did a thorough review and bid analysis, and we did go back to the vendor, and they did confirm that they're willing to perform the work for the price that they submitted, and that they clearly understand the contract requirements and the APL requirements on the contract. So we're recommending to move forward with this contract.
Are any of the respondents, are there new?
Yes. 2 out of the 7 respondents have never won any sort of work as a prime or sub with the agency. So again, this is a testament to that our efforts are attracting new folks to come in and bid on our work.
Great. All right, are there any questions? Is there a motion to approve?
Move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any final discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion passes. Mr. Garcia, please introduce item C.
Yes, item C on our agenda today is brought to you for a motion to approve a contract award to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, ASC Logic, Inc. On June 23rd of 2026, GMX released invitation to bid number ITB-26-13, seeking bids from qualified contractors to provide transportation management center operation services. The work consists of providing operation support staff for the GMX TMC operations at the Florida Department of Transportation District 6 SunGuide TMC. The SunGuide TMC currently accommodates multiple co-located agencies to support integrated traffic operations. This co-location enables GMX to enhance real-time expressway management, coordinate incident response, and improve traveler information dissemination through close daily collaboration with regional transportation and public safety stakeholders. I'll again ask Mr. Diaferia to provide us with additional background.
So the existing contract expires on December 31st of this year. So this is in preparation to have all the folks ready to go by January 1st of next year. The reason this contract is more than the previous is because we want to make sure that we are matching the same rates that the FDOT contract has. As a reminder, we're co-located, and so the operators sit in the same place doing essentially the same work. And we've been coordinating with DOT to make sure that we're not poaching folks from them and they're not poaching folks from us. So this was just an escalation of rates to match the DOT side. We're comfortable moving forward with this, and there's going to be ample time for them to train. That way there's going to be a smooth transition come January 1st.
Are there any questions?
So
Board Member Peterman, you're recognized.
the company who's currently doing it now, the contractor, is not the one who's being awarded.
That's
It's a
correct.
new-
The current incumbent is actually ACOM, who came in third in this particular selection, or low bid. So ACOM will vacate the contract, and then this new company will take over on January 1st.
Thank
But
you.
we want to make sure there's time for them to train their folks and get everything ready. That way they can hit the ground running on January 1st.
Do they normally take people who are currently working for the other company?
Yeah, so that's a typical practice that happens in these type of contracts. They're primarily staffing contracts, and typically they will poach some of the folks that are currently
So they'll
there.
be experienced people.
Yes, for the most part, obviously they have a responsibility to have folks trained and ready to go on day one, and sometimes the easiest way to do it is to get folks that are already doing the work. So yes, that does
Thank
occur.
you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. Is there a motion to approve?
We'll move to.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any final discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed say nay. Motion passes. Mr. Garcia, we can proceed to item D.
Yes, Madam Chair. Item D in our agenda today is before the board for a motion to approve our Technical Evaluation Committee's recommendation to select and enter into a contract with the highest ranked proposer, Atkins Realis USA, Inc. On April 1st, 2026, GMX released a request for qualifications, number RFQ-26-04, seeking proposals from qualified firms to provide project development and environment study services, PD&Es. The scope of work includes conducting a PD&E study for State Road 112 corridor modernization. The objective of the study is to evaluate and improve safety operations and address substandard conditions throughout this corridor. And once again, Mr. Diaferia will provide additional background to the board on this item.
So this is a very key, critical PD&E for us. This is the study of modernization of 112, and it's going to include the findings of the FDOT PD&E conclusion for the Iron Triangle, and it's going to take us all the way from the western end to the eastern end, right where it abuts to 195 and I-95. The TRC met and discussed and evaluated the proposal separately and ranked Atkins Reales as the highest ranked firm. The firm really had a great proposal. And one thing that set them aside from everybody else is that they proposed to perform the study in 20 months versus 36 months, which was the contract requirement. So even though this item is not to exceed a negotiated amount of 4.194 million, we don't anticipate being anywhere close to that given the reduced time frame.
I have a question. Under the subconsultants, the media relations group, what do they actually do? Are they
Yeah, so during the PD&E process, they go out and they meet with the public during the whole PD&E, similarly to the way we're meeting with the folks at Miami Lakes right now, when they propose the alternative workshop for the alternatives that are selected. So they go out into the community and they get feedback as part of the PD&E process as to what the study's going to yield, basically presenting the alternatives.
okay? And do we know how they? Is it like radio by? Like how do they? Do we manage? Obviously, we
Yes.
manage that.
So so it's very prescriptive, and there's like a radius of the area of influence of where they have to communicate and send out notifications, and then there's events where they put out where they do actual meetings for folks to come and like public hearings for come. So it's not so much like radio ads and things like that.
Right.
It's more door to door and flyers and
Yeah,
and
I think it'd be
notifications.
helpful for the board to, like, just FYI us on that,
Sure.
right? So we don't see like, oh, there's a workshop on whatever. But it'd be good if we can get that info beforehand.
We'll make sure to notify
Yep.
ahead of time.
All right. Are there any questions or comments? Is there a motion to approve? Is there a second?
Second.
Any final discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed say nay. Motion passes. Mr. Garcia, we can proceed to item E.
Yes, item E before you is a request to approve the assignment of 2 existing professional service agreements from BCC Engineering, LLC, to Parsons Transportation Group, Inc. By way of background, BCC Engineering currently holds 2 agreements with GMX. One is for miscellaneous design services with a not-to-exceed value of $3 million, and one design engineering service related to the widening of State Route 836 between the Homestead extension of the Turnpike and Northwest 87th Avenue, valued at just over $3.8 million. BCC has undergone a corporate reorganization and is now a wholly owned subsidiary of Parsons Transportation Group. As a result, BCC has requested that both agreements be assigned to Parsons, which would assume full responsibility for administering and performing the work under each contract. This is a change in corporate structure. It is not a change in scope, cost, or personnel. Both agreements will remain at their current not-to-exceed amounts with no increase in costs to GMX. The same project teams currently doing the work are expected to remain in place under Parsons. Staff has completed its due diligence on Parsons. It has verified corporate standing and checked applicable state and federal exclusion and debarment lists. No adverse findings were identified. The existing small business and local business participation requirements on both agreements remain fully in effect and will carry forward under Parsons. Staff is recommending to the board that this assignment is a low-risk administrative continuation of work already underway, and that approving it allows these design projects to proceed without further interruption. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Any, Board Member Peterman, you're recognized.
Do we have any other agreements with Parsons currently unrelated to these two? Have we ever had any work done between us and Parsons that you could remember?
Not in recent times. I'd have to look it up.
Okay.
I can tell you currently we don't have any other agreements with Parsons.
Okay.
So this will be the first.
Thank you.
And I assume the principles stayed the same?
No, because of the purchase, the principals of
Well-
BCC now it will be
Okay,
Parsons.
but I meant those people are all the same.
The folks doing the work on the job, the ones
Okay.
that won the selection, will be the same people doing the work, but the principles of the company will change.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Board Member Ricardo, you're recognized.
will the timeline change at all?
Nothing changes. The contract stays exactly the same. The contract terms, the work stays the same. It's just an assignment of a contract to the new owners.
All right. Are there any comments, questions? Is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Any final discussions? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Mr. Garcia, we can proceed to item F in our regular agenda.
Yes, item F. This next item concerns another assignment similar to the one that we just covered in item E. This one is a professional services agreement from Trans Systems Corporation to GFT Infrastructure. Staff is seeking board approval of an assignment of GMX contract number RFP-25-01B from Trans Systems Corporation, doing business as Trans Systems Corporation Consultants, to GFT Infrastructure, otherwise known as GFT. GMX entered into an agreement with Trans Systems in September of 2025 to provide inspection and reporting services for our structures. That agreement runs for an initial 4-year term through September of 2029, with 2 optional 2-year renewals at GMX's discretion, contingent on Trans Systems maintaining an excellent performance rating. No supplemental agreements have been executed to date. Since then, Trans Systems has gone through a corporate merger. It became part of the GFT Infrastructure Organization in mid-2024 and more recently merged with Gannett Fleming, becoming GFT Infrastructure. As a result, Trans Systems has requested that this agreement be assigned to GFT, which would assume all rights and responsibilities for performing the work moving forward. This is a corporate restructuring, not a change in how the work gets done. The same project personnel will remain in place. The same services will continue uninterrupted. All terms and conditions of the agreement stay exactly as they are, including compensation rates and the not-to-exceed amount of $2.8 million, $2,820,000. There is no cost impact to GMX as a result of this assignment. As in the previous item, staff's view is that this is a routine administrative continuation of the existing agreement following a corporate merger, and that approval allows this inspection and reporting work to proceed without any disruption. Thank you.
All right. Are there any questions or comments?
I move to adopt.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any final discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Mr. Garcia, we can proceed to item G on a regular agenda.
Yes, the next item is resolution number 26-05, which would amend Article 3, Section 3.2 of our GMX bylaws to change the term length for the board's officers, that is to say the chair, the vice chair, and the treasurer, from 1 year to 2 years. At our June 11th, 2026 meeting, Board Member Peterman brought a motion directing staff to prepare this resolution. That motion passed 8-1. Staff has since drafted the resolution now before you as Exhibit A in your package. The amendment lengthens officer terms from 1 year to 2 years. Currently, officers are elected annually, with terms running from July 1st to the following June 30th. Under this resolution, that term would run for 2 years instead of 1. Procedurally, I will note that Article 9 of Section 9.1 of our bylaws allows the board to amend its bylaws by a vote of the board. So this resolution is properly before you for action today.
Are there any questions from the board on this item? We have a riveting group today.
The effective date of this change would be with the next election?
The next election, yes, correct.
Okay.
Any other comments? All right, is there a motion to approve?
I move to adopt.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any final discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed say nay. Motion passes. That's the end of our regular agenda, so I will now recognize Mr. Garcia to present the executive director's report.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. As the Executive Director's report today, we will have a presentation on safety and innovation. So I will ask Danny Fleitas to take the podium. Danny is our Chief of Toll Operations and Transportation Technology.
Good morning.
All right. See, test. Oh, there we go. We got it. All right, perfect. Well, good morning. Good morning, board members. Good morning. I'm extremely excited to present to you. Yeah, I'm extremely excited to present to you. But before I start the presentation, I want to say thank you to our executive team and to the board, because in early 2025, the board made safety and innovation a key pillars here at GMX. So staff, we listened, we understood that message, and we executed. So with that, I want to say thank you again for that. There was a lot of projects that we did in the past year. I'm not going to cover every single one. We'd be here maybe till tomorrow. I'm going to cover a couple of key ones that are I find extremely important for us. The first one is our wrong way driver improvements that we made. We have about 30 sites that have wrong way driver detection systems. And if I could take a step back and explain what a wrong way driver detection system is. On our off ramps, if there's a vehicle that enters our system the wrong way, there's an AI-based system that sees that vehicle coming in, goes ahead, takes pictures, starts flashing some signs that say wrong way on them, and then also sending alerts to our TMC so they could get visual on that and potentially have to dispatch FHP, put messages on our dynamic message signs that say there's a wrong way driver to the public, please be alert. And we implemented that system, and up to spec, it works perfectly. What we noticed is there was a couple of sites that I like to say a little bit of a hotspot that drivers were entering our system the wrong way. So we kind of went back to the drawing board and tried to think of maybe some innovative ways that we could try to prevent those users from entering our system. As you know, wrong way drivers, it's a very serious situation. Board Member Iglesias knows the impacts that it has. So we were thinking of different ways and different innovative ways to see if we could kind of limit those events. And what we came up with was several things. One, we do have some flashing signs that turn on when the system detects a wrong way driver. We added additional signs to these areas. On top of that, we added a strobe light. But the other piece of it, I think, was the bigger bang for your buck is these systems, we turned them on at these sites 24/7. And the idea behind that is that as a driver is driving here in South Florida, the idea is that you look before you turn. not everybody does that, but most people do. And if you're driving and you look and you see these signs flashing before you're even entering into our system, right, that kind of triggers the person to think about it and say, wait a minute, am I actually really going the right way or not, right? So we implemented that. We have these lights flashing 24/7 at these sites, and it's early in the data, but we're seeing improvements. The number of events at those locations has really been reduced. We'll get more data as the months go by, and for example, now as school starts, we'll be able to analyze that data and see the impact that this innovation has had. And actually, as I'm going through these, there's I think a lot of the team that I represent is here. And if I could just kind of take a quick moment to recognize them, because they're very instrumental in a lot of these projects. So I'm here presenting by myself, but really what I want to do is show you that there's 19 individuals that are standing shoulder to shoulder with me with all these. If I could take a quick second of your time and have them stand up. I think IT, ITS, tolls, GIS, if all those folks could stand up. And the areas that I cover are IT. Those are the folks, as Mr. Blanco knows, our system is pretty large and complex. And if I could, the IT folks, once I call their name, they could kind of wave their hand. These are the guys that are 24 hours a day monitoring the system, making sure everything's flowing. Gary, Wang, Eep, Goke, and there's one in the back that's making sure everything is running. And that's Wayne. If you could come out, I know this is a little impromptu, but if you could come out, thank you. The next set of folks are our toll operation folks, and that's Susan down in the back, Maria, I see you, Jaylyn, and Iris is not here, but our toll folks are extremely knowledgeable. The data analytics, the audit system that they maintain, also some of the customer service piece of it. I'd say they're not just the best in Miami, but I think they're the best in the nation with the work that they do. The next area is a team of one, and that's my thing in the GIS. It's a very powerful one, but what he does is we have to explain what GIS is that we have our assets out in the roadways, our light poles, our guardrails, fences, parcels, and all that information is put into a geospatial database, and that's used for inspectors for various parts of the organization. So extremely important piece of the organization. And then a lot of these safety projects are with the folks out in the back, the ITS department. There's Fernando, Danny, another Danny. There's 4 Dannys in the house. Very good people, all of them. Louis and Juan out there. There's one important member that's not here. He's actually their manager. He's in DR vacationing. He was thinking of coming for this meeting, and I said, no, stay with your family and enjoy your vacation. You did a lot of hard work. I'll take over the presentation. But yeah, I just wanted to recognize them. I think the ITS folks, there's a lot of work to be done out there. They're more than welcome to stay, but I know there's a lot of tickets and locates that they have to do. So if you guys...
Danny, let me interrupt you for a second. So one thing that Danny didn't mention, well, obviously he oversees them, so kudos to Danny, because the one thing that sets us apart, I think, is that unlike other agencies, we do it all in-house. So the folks that you're seeing engineering, a lot of the stuff is supported by our GCs, external consultants. But these 3 teams that you're seeing here, both the tolling department, the IT, and the ITS, this is all in-house. So these are all GMX folks doing everything. So everything that, so the bloodline, the heart of this agency, right, our toll revenue collection and IT systems and everything that happens in the background, excuse me, that you don't really hear about. And that's a good thing you don't hear about it, right? If you're not hearing about it and we're not talking about it, it means it's doing they're all doing what they're supposed to be doing. So that's why we wanted to take a moment to really recognize these folks, because these are all internal GMX folks that are really keep this place running and keeps the lights on. I know it's not as flashy as some of these really nice projects, construction projects that are outward facing, but it's very important to recognize the hard work that all these folks do on a daily basis, out in the sun, or because it's hard work, and they really do an amazing job. And they're also, most of them are on call 24/7. So whenever there's an issue in the field here at headquarters, they're the first ones jumping into action. Danny's here habitually late. I'm always trying to get him to go home to his family, but they've never failed. The other thing that we've also talked about is the locates. The team in the back, they do our own locates. Just that fact saves the agency about $2 million a year. And ever since they took over the locates, we haven't had a hit in over 12 years at this point. So it's just really kudos to the team. They're continually working in the background, and they're the silent heroes to really keeping this place going. So
Yeah, extremely important to us. So thank you guys. Thank you for coming. Really appreciate it. And thank you. And I also want to mention our amazing GECs. I like to call them our little army. HNTB and NEAC, they have a wealth of knowledge. Anything we throw out them, they'll find an expert in that field and have an answer by the end of the day. So we're also extremely happy to have GCs, both of them on board with us. So sorry to interrupt the flow of the presentation, but also if you have questions in this presentation, there's a lot of technical terms and everything, please feel free to ask. You don't have to wait till the end. I want to kind of keep this lively, and so ask questions.
I have a question.
Sure, go for it.
Are there benchmarks by which we measure ourselves on the safety issue, for example, or the locate issue that,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, so there's KPIs
okay,
that we fill out monthly,
Right.
and they all have a different section that we fill out, for example, like this, and the different areas that, yes, that we,
right, but do we compare ourselves against other agencies or other highways or FDOT for that matter?
so we do, there's for example, there's the FTC report that compares toll agencies, and we're working on making sure all the metrics are apples to apples, because certain agencies interpret things differently, but yes, there is metrics, and we are compared against other agencies in the state.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And in absolute terms, have we had a wrong-way crash?
So to put it into perspective, there's about 100 this last fiscal year. There's about 118 incidents, right? And what I mean by that is that those are drivers entering the system the wrong way. A lot of them self-corrected. Once they were on the system, they turned around and realized they were going the wrong way. There was, and also the TMC managers here, but there was 2 incidents that FHP was involved in. But yeah, there's it's a very big issue, and it's a very big problem here in Florida and in South Florida. But that's why we're trying to come up with these innovative ways so we could address that. And it's not just us that rides the roads; it's our families, our friends. South Florida, it's a huge amount of people that ride it, and we want to make sure that the user gets onto our system, they safely arrive to their destination. So yeah, we take very serious steps in trying to minimize those events.
Very good, thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
If I may.
Sure.
Do these incidents happen during the day or more in the evening side? Give me a sense of when these incidents occur.
Yeah, it's at all times, yeah, there's incidents that happen at night also, but this one particular site, things were happening in the middle of the day. It was a ramp near the Dolphin Park and Ride area by 836, and it was broad daylight, 9 in the morning, 10, 11, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah, so it's not just a nighttime problem. It happens during the day.
That site in particular has it's a little bit strange the way you get on and off of the highway there. So aside from these improvements, by the way, the improvements that Danny's talking about, these are above and beyond the standards that require us to put the system in place. So these are above and beyond. But the engineering department, Andres, has also taken initiative to put additional signage, shields on the ground to enhance the visibility of where to actually get on and get off. And then with the improvements both in the wrong-way signs and the engineering improvements, preliminarily we're seeing a reduction in that. But yes, there's a mix. Typically, the ones that happen during the daytime are areas that that could be confusing for drivers getting on and off. That's why we're doing these enhancements. If not, yes, we do see quite a bit of them at night, late at night, 2 or 3 in the
Yeah.
morning.
And those are, the worst ones sometimes.
And then obviously, as soon as someone comes into one of these wrong way ramp, the TMC gets notified, which is why it's so key to have the staffing at the traffic management center. Jennifer, who's here, who I'm not sure if you can get up a second. Jennifer's our TMC manager, so she's the one that coordinates all the activities at our traffic management center with our operators and all this dispatching and the coordination with FHP should a driver actually enter our system in the wrong direction. For the most part, we get the report where we see the driver come in, realize that he's going the wrong way, and then he self-corrects, turns around, and comes back out.
And I encourage you all to visit the TMC. That's a DLT facility. It's an amazing facility. If you haven't been there, think of an IMAX theater style, huge, with all the cameras of Miami-Dade County, and we're privileged enough to be part of DOT there and watching the cameras over the entire system. FHP is on the second floor, so they're there quickly to dispatch and monitor the entire roadway system. So definitely encourage you folks to go out there and see the amazing work that the people are doing there 24 hours a day.
Well, just one more question. On the hotspots, of the 100 incidents or so, how many were in that hotspot or relative to a few hotspots? What's the concentration of the hotspot?
It was a little bit above normal, what we were seeing in some locations. The exact number, I don't have it off the top of my head, but I could get that information for you. It was just, we were seeing, there's an average that come in a week, I think it's about 10 or so, and a majority of those were coming from these locations.
Okay. So is there a chance that some of it could be a design issue at those locations?
Yes. Yeah, really, there's not much. Basically, this one hotspot that Danny's referring to is essentially when you're going eastbound on 836, and you get off on that ramp that goes directly into the Dolphin parking, right?
Yes.
That facility, when you're on Telemundo Way on 121st,
Yes.
to get onto the highway to go westbound, you actually have to pass that exit and make a left to get on to go westbound. So it's somewhat confusing. So we did a lot of improvements, not only with the wrong way, because once they're on the wrong way, you're already going the wrong way. So we don't want them to even get to that point. So there was a lot of thought that went into some additional signage, some shields in the ground. We actually just installed a really large sign on the bridge that crosses over Telemundo Way, indicating folks, hey, it's not here, it's the next one. And we just finished it. Andres, when was that finished? So 2 weeks ago, we finished all those improvements. So we're going to be monitoring now to see the reduction. But just from a personal standpoint, driving it looks a lot better. It's just a lot. There's the confusion, I think, is gone.
Yeah. So the next project I was mentioning is as you're driving, you see these dynamic message signs. We call them DMS signs. And those give you the travel time or congestion ahead, those signs. You're driving and you don't think they're that large, but they're pretty large. For our RTS folks, to maintain those, you actually have to go into the sign. They actually have a door you walk in, and you're able to go ahead and replace the panels and do all that. The access, when those signs were installed, they had a catwalk, and that's the structure that you use to walk and safely get into the DMS sign. Those were up to spec, safety standards and all at the time they were installed. And over the years, our ITS folks had different ideas to improve the safety and the usability of this structure. So they had a couple of ideas. One, which was really important, is extending that catwalk, extending it out. So, and the reason for that is when you're working on there, you're able to park your bucket truck on the shoulder or off the side of the roadway and not have to close a lane. So once you close a lane, that causes congestion, it's revenue impacting. So in order to minimize that, the first idea was let's extend the catwalk, make it easier for the folks to work on the side, bring up the bucket truck and get up. The second piece of that was that catwalk was about 24 inches. Seems like a lot, seems like enough space, but what happens is when you have your tools, you have the spare parts trying to go up there, 24 inches, it's not a lot of space to move around, right? So we extended that to 36 inches. And so now that gives them more space to walk around, be more comfortable up there. And another safety feature that we added to the system is once you get up there, you have your harness and you have to hook on, you move, and then they would hook on to the other spot and keep going like that, right? We changed that and turned it into a linear system so that therefore, once they're up there, they hook on once. They don't have to worry about unhooking. You're thinking about you're carrying your tools, the spare parts up there. So you just hook on once and you're able to safely go across the entire system. And then another piece of this was we call it a gap-free system. And what that means is that the entire area is protected. So for example, if you drop a spare part or something, it's not dropping down to live traffic, right? There's a mesh right under you. So all your tools and everything stays up there with you. So from revenue impacting, all these little changes made sure that there was less revenue impacted, less congestion on the roadway. If we have to block a lane, then you need MOT services, and there's a lot of cost involved with that. Now we could do everything safely from the shoulder. The next project I have here is not a flashy project. It's not a pizzazz type of thing, but it is extremely important. As you know, Florida is kind of the lightning state of the world. We get a lot amount of lightning strikes here, and our equipment out there that we have that is our toll system that has lots of redundancies in that system, like additional cameras, additional computer systems, battery backup systems, generators, and all that's great. But as we know, lightning is extremely unpredictable. And if a site gets struck by lightning or in the area of that electricity, that over voltage condition just travels throughout the entire system and could damage our equipment. And, if the equipment is damaged, then we're not collecting revenue. Some of the incident management cameras might be out, so TMC doesn't have visual on our roadways. There's a lot of things that happens when lightning strikes one of these sites. So what we did is that we went ahead and did an analysis of all our systems or all our sites and analyzed the grounding arrays and noticed if they were under spec or right at that threshold. We went ahead and improved it, added new grounding rods. And again, Board Member Iglesias knows this, that the minute you insert a grounding rod, because of our water table so high, that grounding rod starts corroding. So it's your best day is your first day. And then from then, everything starts degrading down. So we installed new grounding rods, installed grounding all around the area, did a lot of this type of installation, but it's behind the scenes, right? These are the little things that we do to make sure that when lightning strikes, our system isn't impacted. So this is one of those. It's not very flashy. It's not very thing looking at a grounding rod or things like that, but it's extremely, extremely important for us. The next one I'd like to talk about is our lane closure application. This, if I could take a step back and show you what we did in the past, is in the past when a utility company or a contractor would need a lane closure, or our internal staff or engineer needed a lane closure for something, the process was there was a PDF form, we'd send them, they'd fill it out, they'd send it back to us, we'd review it, see if it was okay, if not, possibly send it back to them, then they'd get it all corrected. It would go into our one department, make sure it's okay, then send it off to another department, make sure that's okay, and then send it back. So it worked for many, many, many years, and the people involved in creating that form and all that, we appreciated that work and everything. But thanks to our COO and our chief engineer, they had a lot of ideas of how to change that system. And them being also a former DOT employees, Board Member Iglesias knows, and it looks familiar, is that I like to say we like to stand on the shoulders of giants, and I don't like to reinvent the wheel, right? So we looked at the DOT system, fantastic system, people very familiar with it, very user-friendly, the workflow and all that. So we used that system and took the best parts of it and customized it for GMX. Our needs are sometimes a little bit different than DOT. And now with this new system, it's all online. There's no sending forms, emails back and forth. The requester is able to see in which category their permit status is at, so that way they know what's happening. Hey, it's moving along the chain, things are happening, they're getting notifications. And then the other piece of it that was extremely important for us is having this information on a map, right? It's nice to have all these things come in and you kind of have it on Excel spreadsheet, and then the people approving it are kind of trying to say, okay, this lane closure is in this area, is this one going to affect? Now, what happens once you have it in a map, you're able to see, okay, they're requesting this lane closure at this particular time. Is there a potential conflict, right? Is something going on in that same area that I could either tell you, hey guys, you can't do it at this time, schedule another time, right? So that was an important piece. And now the last piece that is kind of the what I see as extremely innovative is we have data coming in from the toll system. We have data coming in from the traffic system. We have all this data, and the idea is that we could run simulations. So when a lane closure request comes in, we're able to say, okay, let's say it's, for example, it starts at 9. They want to start a line and lane closure at this time. We could run a simulation and say, okay, the congestion will be 5 minutes for this particular time. But if we change that, let's say start at 10 o'clock, now the congestion drops to 2 minutes, right? So it's that intelligence of guiding all that data, everything we have out there, combining it, and then making a smart decision. And it's also helps the public. It impacts revenue a lot less. We're able to see the actual impact. So these are different ideas that we've come up to, and thank the team for all these ideas, and that we've implemented, and I'm extremely proud of it. I kind of maybe went a little bit over my time, but I really wanted to get this information to you. So if you want me to double click and go into all those other projects, I set up an appointment, and I could talk for hours and hours about these amazing projects. These guys know I love this stuff, and I love what I do. I love the team that I work with. So really appreciate your time, and thank you again for making safety and innovation key pillars here at GMX. Thank you.
Thank you, Danny.
Thank you, Danny. Yeah, if I may, Madam Chair. Yeah, Danny and his crew, obviously you saw, he does a phenomenal job. You know, Danny's been with the agency many, many years. He came in through the ranks of IT, and now he's our director of toll operations. So we're very fortunate, and he does like to talk about this stuff. And he's taught me a lot about fiber optic lines, and that alone took an afternoon. But right before we call, we have a very short presentation from our chief engineer. But before we get there, Andres, I'm going to quickly step in back to business and maybe ask Sandy, our treasurer, to report on revenue and collections for the board.
Okay. Well, I only have 5 minutes, so I'm just going to go as fast as I can. So, so you have two pieces of documents in front of you. You have the regular preliminary financial report. That's the regular one that we get quarterly. This is preliminary because the final is not done yet. A few things that need to happen before we finalize and close the year. But this is a good guide. And the explanation of the differences, we put it right on top for you to read. And if you have any questions, I know I don't have a lot of time, but technically we have revenues are still growing. We did an analysis of collections, as you said, and we have a small little presentation for you. Everything that's in this report is as expected. So even though you see from differences from prior year to current year, but they were all approved in the budget. We know we had new safety initiatives. We know we had additional operational expenses. So all that is there reflected with inflation and all that. So when you see favorable and unfavorable, it's not because something is wrong. It's just because it's still on track based on our budget for the current year. So let's go quickly to the analysis of revenues and collections. So I'm just going to give you my little brief summary of all of that. I know I've provided a lot of data. I have raw data, but the summary will kind of put it all together. We are very encouraged by this analysis, by the way. First, our toll revenue is consistently growing at an average rate of 3% from year to year. However, collections have lagged, and we all talked about it. And when you look at the data, when you see 19.6% below, you get concerned. But allow me to walk you through why we feel encouraged. As you recall, to address the undeniable collection challenges that all Florida toll agencies face this last year, there was a strategic change in the composition of the pool of collection agencies to keep only the high productive ones. And the transition took some time. And we are now seeing the definite positive and consistent upward trend in collection activities. Looking specifically at the second half of fiscal year 25, when you look at this, to me, it's the most important chart because it does show you the consistent upward trend as opposed to the yo-yo that we had the year before based on the transition itself. A meaningful part of that progress is also coming from registration holds. Placing a hold on a driver's vehicle registration until unpaid tolls are settled is probably one of the best strategic moves during 2025. Currently, as of 7/1, the registration hold has dropped to 2,500, and we are just raking the monies in based on that. But it's the same collection agencies that are going after the registration hold and then the current one. So they're doing pretty well. And keeping that trend, an upward trend, is fantastic. It's telling us that it's working. The registration holds are working, and the collection also has improved. So that's why we are very encouraged by this. The tool generated about $6.2 million for the fiscal year, and we started out as a measly 88,000 collection for registration hold, and the last month was like $1.1 million. So it's really working, and we're really happy about that. And finally, I want to flag one more area that we are monitoring closely. An estimated 3.4% of our transactions from each year do not convert into billable revenue. Not every transaction that goes through become a billable revenue. So we have to take away the non-revenue items from law enforcement. We have to do the images and so on. So we just wanted to make sure that you all understand that, and we're monitoring it. The good thing about it is it's now a common process in our monthly reports. So we have this data so we could come and update you periodically on what's happening, but we're truly encouraged by this. And we also put in some SunPass information for you. We did not create that chart. It's a chart that shows the allocation within agencies. It was created by FDOT. So, but it tells you where we fit into the whole SunPass that we've been talking about, that people are not really going as much as we want them to, because right now our payment type still is at 67.3% from SunPass, which is still good, but we wish it were a little bit higher because we'll give less time for the toll by plate, and then collection agencies would actually work a little faster, and we'll get our monies faster. So we encourage, we hope that you see exactly what's happening, and then we'll continue monitoring this process and report periodically.
Madam Chair,
You're recognized.
thank you. I have a question. You mentioned 67% SunPass, but on this report that says SunPass
Lane. So let me explain.
Yes, please, because here it's like 50/50.
So the lane level itself, transactions, on the transaction side, it's 51.49 on the transaction, but the payment type itself, 67.3% is collected, cash collected, because people have sun passes, and the rest of it is toll by plate. So we wanted you to see how the traffic is going, transaction-wise, but when it converts into the money part of it, the payment type of it, we have a 67.3 from the sun pass, and then the rest.
Even though they're like less than 50% or 50% of the,
No, maybe let me put it
Yeah,
in
thank you, Claudia.
easier terms. Sometimes folks, for whatever reason, a transponder is not read, whether they took it out of their car or they damaged it or they switched cars. So let's say you go through the toll gantry and we don't read a sun pass, or we don't read a transponder. We'll take a license plate image, but before we send you a bill, we'll double check our system. And in the back end, it'll say, wait a minute, this vehicle does have a transponder associated with its license plate. So we go ahead and bill the correct transaction, which is a transponder rate toll. And that's why there's a conversion factor between, at the lane level, like Sandy was saying, roughly 50% of them are video tolls and 50% of them, or 49%, are transactions where we actually write a transponder. But when we do the post-processing in the back end, we realize that they do have a transponder associated with that account. And we do the right thing, and we actually charge them the reduced half rate, which is the sun pass rate. So those are what we call I-tolls. So that means that at the lane level, we write them as a video, but in the back end, we actually charge them as a transponder toll, which is half the rate, right?
yeah, but seems like a very high number, between 50% and 67%.
It's about 14% of all transactions, and it's in line with the same thing that the Turnpike's seeing and TIA's. We did have a concern with that. That's why these campaigns are so important. Again, if someone buys a transponder associated with their license plate and then turns in their leased vehicle and then switches to the next car, they usually take their license plate with them, right? So that license plate does have an account associated with it, but then now the vehicle's different and there's no transponder anymore. That's just one of the examples that could happen. So we're still pushing very hard to make sure that people understand that it's important that they put the transponders at the right location, and new transponder if they're changing vehicles.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
You're recognized, Board Member Blanco.
I have a question on the line item that says image rejects, unreadable image review process. And I understand it's only 2%. Are we able to do anything about being able to gather better data, AI, IT mix in there to try to make that better, to lower that percentage? Because, I mean, it's 11 million transactions that we're not.
Danny really wants to come up here and talk.
Yeah,
I can see him like edging from
I'm
his
glad
seat.
you asked that
A
question.
4-hour conversation between me and.
No, but really quickly, it's something else that Danny, we had to be, discerning on what we were going to be presenting to the board today. But you brought up one of my favorite topics, which is something that Danny's been working on. Would you want to address that?
Yeah, that's a very good point. The folks that read those license plates, the manual piece of it, their metrics and their performances, they can't guess at a plate, right? They can't guess at it, and their performance is key. So they're trying to go through these plates quickly, and then over the years, we've created separate categories for different plate issues that we see, either a camera issue or an image issue or an obstructed license plate. So what we did, and it was one of the things here, but I didn't include it it's in part of the thing, but I didn't talk about it, is our partial plate queue. So what we did is with the system, those plates that are classified obstructed, those come back here, and then the folks, the toll operations group, they monitor that queue, and they could spend a little bit more time on it, and then be able to see what that obstruction is and see what number is being blocked. If you see them working, they're looking at all these plates, and it's amazing, because they'll say, oh yeah, that's a 3, or no, that's a B, or that's this letter O, because it has this little thing here. So they're very familiar with the Florida license plates, and the idea behind that is that we're able to then process those rejected transactions that were in the past just kind of dropped. We're grabbing them and putting them back into the system and then collecting revenue and pushing it right through the entire system and then pushing it back and able to capture some of that revenue. So that's an initiative that we started last year. We, as part of the process, we tried different things. Said, okay, if it's one character is obstructed, 2 plates, just focus on this so we could get the metrics and see the way that the toll folks are able to process these and how many they're able to process. So through a lot of different iterations, we, I think, come down to a really good system that we're able to capture. Right now, it's in the range between about 30% of those images.
That's
So
a lot.
that's a
That
big
translates
number.
into a lot.
So in other words, this
Danny's being
percentage was
modest.
higher.
Yeah, so Danny's being modest about this because he really initiated this process. And in the spirit of this meeting, if Jane Lynn and Maria can stand up a second. So these 2 young ladies have been with us for quite some time, and they did a lot of the auditing for us in the past. But Danny thought that it was more beneficial for us from a financial standpoint to have them do these read review queues. In the past, these transactions, because the folks that are doing the image reviews can't guess on them, like he said, they were just flushed, they were dismissed. So that's just lost revenue that have. So he's taking their time and they're going through these processes. And they're also doing wild cards. So for example, if the license plate's ABC 12 and you can't read the last character, but they see the image of the vehicle, right? It's a white Tacoma. They can go do a lookup and say, all right, how many white Tacomas have these first 5 characters in it? And then they can go and positively identify the transaction and then send it back into the system. So that's just one of the examples. One of the things he's talking about, 30%, that 30% of all the transactions that ultimately would have been lost, we're getting recovery now. And so basically what we're looking at is that these systems are paying for themselves within a month or 2. Their effort and their time is getting multiplied in terms of the revenue that we're getting back into the agency.
Yeah, we're seeing a very big increase, and I kind of glossed over it a little bit. But the way that the system is, we worked with our vendor, Q-Free, phenomenal vendor, and we had these ideas. As part of the contract, we get $85,000 a year. That's free of charge for changes and things like that we want to do. So we used that dollar amount, and we created 2 queues. One was that partial plate that first identifies, hey, is this plate potentially readable or not? If it is, they'll type in what they see, what they're able to see. And like Claudio was mentioning, like there's a wild card, right? They'll put an underscore for this character that's missing. When they do that, that in the back end goes into a separate queue. And what the system does is it says, have I seen this license plate ABC 12 in the past? And bring me all the vehicles that have that same starting license plate and are missing that last character, so I could see the vehicle, right? Because one thing is to think and see what the license plate might be, but also if you see the vehicle, right? If it's a white Ford and it's ABC 123, now you're able to say, oh yes, that image that I'm missing that's obstructed is a white Ford. So now we could correlate that together. So that was enhancements that we did to the back end of the system that are showing to be very fruitful.
Thank you. Great work.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Board Member Pages, you recognize.
All right. There is, I appreciate this report. This report is actually something we've been kind of asking for or worried about for some time. So our ability to see the numbers over a longer period of time and see the trends is actually the most important part for anybody who looks at financial reporting. There's a lot of noise in these reports. There's a lot of noise in our revenue. And it's one of those things that I grapple with from the private sector. There's a lot of noise. There's noise on the amount we collect, who collects them, what we collect, if it's a transponder. So I really don't know, honestly, how we're doing. I know how we're doing in general, but for example, 2.4 is where you're showing increased revenue from 25 to 26, right? What was our budgeted number for that? What do we expect revenue to grow in 26? Just a number.
Less than 2.
Yes,
It was
yeah,
1 point.
but-
It was
yeah.
just shy of 2.
Just shy of 2.
Yes.
So we're ahead of that.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we based that on the traffic and revenue study. These are actuals, and the traffic and revenue study estimated, I think, a 1.8 and 1.9.
And this variability of variance here, is that because of collection? Is that because why in the month of November of 25 were we down 11% in revenue? Can someone tell me that?
So if you recall, those are the times that the collection agencies were switching, those contracts were changing. I think the most telling one, if you look at this slide, the one that says registration hold revenue, I think that's probably the best visual indication of how we're doing, right? Because
Right, no, but-
transponder tools are easy.
I agree, but let's go back. In the beginning of the fiscal year, you had minus, 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 well, 5 went up, 11 down, flat, 11 down. What was the reasoning for that?
Where?
So,
Do we have a reason?
let's see.
I mean, those are the things that I'm concerned about. Yeah, I love seeing 12%, 15%, 23%. I love it. But I want to know why, for the first half of the fiscal year, we showed negative variances almost every month for the first part of the year.
That was the time of the transition. Remember? we said-
Transition to the collection.
Collection.
Okay, so that's all noise, that's all collection noise.
Correct.
Is that right?
Right. And then what I wanted you to see is that it was going up and down
I
because
understand. I
we
understand.
were not stable at that
Right.
time.
But we're seeing, as a board, we're seeing it on that moment, that month, and we're seeing a negative number. And then we're seeing another negative number. That's why we reacted the way we did. So is there a way to eliminate some of this noise or report some of this without seeing that noise?
Certainly.
Because you're going to show me in the next, I'm hoping, which is my next question, in the next couple of months, you're going to see me these great revenue increases. We're going to say, wow, we've got increased traffic flow, we're not closing lanes, but it's not. It's not. It's because we're collecting revenue that we were owed a year ago.
That's correct.
So that's noise. That's just noise.
So let's put it in perspective. We gave you the data, the raw data.
Yes.
Just because we wanted you to, if you have questions. But at the end of the day, when you analyze the data, it shows you the variation that we knew were happening.
Right.
And then now it's to the point where it's stabilizing. And what we're monitoring, we're making sure that this trend continues. Because by now, they already identified the collection agencies that are doing well, and they keep doing well. And then at the same time, remember, like you said, they're getting old, the registration holds, and then still new ones are still coming. So at this point, I didn't have to show you all this. I wanted to give raw data, so when I give you a summary, so you will know where I'm coming from, as opposed to me just
Right,
telling you.
but I want to be clear. Yes, you do have to show me this, and I don't want summaries. Well, at least I don't. I'm speaking for myself. I don't want summaries. I need the trends. I need the numbers, and I need the numbers with as much noise
And
fixing. If I hear a speaker in my house, I don't want all the static around the.
I think I understand what you're asking, and there's one particular measure that does show it. It's not here in this report. It's actually a measure that we report to FTC, and so it does eliminate all that noise. And
Okay.
what it is, it's a ratio. It's what they call revenue variance, right? And so that's really the delta between the indicator revenue, what we expect to collect that comes out of the lane, and what we actually collect in our bank account. So that eliminates all the noise, the
Okay.
fluctuations, everything else.
Okay.
We just literally redid the numbers, and,
Okay.
and our executive director will be presenting it at the FTC meeting next week.
Okay.
And that is roughly at 17% right now.
Okay.
And it's going to go down as these registration holds continue to come down. So that's probably the measure you're looking at, and we can provide it to you.
Okay.
That eliminates all the noise, and it's really straightforward. It's just a comparison between what we expect to collect from the revenue and what we actually collect in our bank account.
Okay. Just one more.
May
Okay,
I,
that-
may
that-
I also
yes, go ahead.
direct you to this particular chart?
Okay.
This chart, as you notice, it doesn't have amounts and so on.
Mm-hmm.
But what it's meant to tell you, it's showing you that at the second half of the year, how things are evolving. And to me, this is an important telling of all the raw data that accumulates to this kind of trend. And that doesn't have all the numbers, all the negatives, and so on. It tells you for fiscal year 25, when we were going through all the trouble, they were going up and down, and this one steadily growing. So I'm expecting on 26, it will continue to go as well.
I understand that. I understand that. But now you look at the collections breakdown by month on 25 to 26. bluntly, this is chaos. This is total chaos. If I was in the private sector and I saw these numbers on my collection sheet, I would go crazy. You're down. There's numbers here that are down 50% for a month from month of the previous year.
Correct.
I mean the alarm bells need to go off, like five alarm bells need to go off on those things.
So the alarm bell started already before during 2025. That's why it was strategically planned to have the collection agencies and to vet them out and see the ones that are going to produce better. So this is an indication, the zigzag that you're saying.
No, it's not a zigzag. It's a complete down. And then we're optimistic on collection. I'm glad we are.
Yes.
But it's only 1 month. It's the month of June, which is up 72% for that month. But we're still down 20% in collection for the year.
20% collection of the year because we were not stabilizing the collection activities yet. When I say we, I'm not saying GMX, I'm saying the back office. So, in other words, what I'm trying to say, I cannot show that it didn't go zigzag because it did. And we were aware of that. We were in communication with FDOT all the time on their strategic moves. And now we're seeing how the move that they put in place is starting to work. It's starting to work. And then also, I know most people want to say revenue and collection. You know, you cannot really equate the two. What's collected this month may not be for the revenue expected this month because it includes past revenues as well. So we left the data there for you to do the raw data, but at the same time, it would be a mistake to say, oh, this is what's expected and this is what we're supposed to get. Because we're already getting sun past 67% of it coming. So what you're seeing here is the toll by plate.
So we're sitting in August. Did we see July numbers, positive collection?
July numbers, yes.
And August, we don't know yet.
Right, we're working on August now.
All right.
We'll continue doing
I think
this.
this is a work in progress.
It continues, right, it's something that we're monitoring.
Look, we raised it. I understand, you guys understand these numbers backwards and forward, and you understand a lot of the background stuff and the collection agents and stuff or whatever, but it's our job. We have a few jobs, and one of our jobs is the financial oversight of this agency. And when we bring up numbers a meeting ago, 2 meetings ago, and we're saying everything's fine, the collection company, this and that, and then we see numbers that are these type of misses on collection, we need to be super alert and super active and concern is the right word, concern on it, not because we brought it up, but because you guys are concerned. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
Okay.
Madam Chair.
A question as well.
Board Member Iglesias, you're
Just-
recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. To add to Board Member Page's comments, and I think they're very astute comments. What might be helpful to the board is you mentioned the toll revenue study that you have or that we've generated. For us to see what those projections are and then compare them to what we're actually seeing month to month to see if we're hitting the mark, right? I think we do that on our side with our express lanes. You know, not only does that give us an insight into what we should be seeing, but it'll affirm what we are seeing in these reports and maybe get rid of some of that noise. Because if it was a one-time blip that has corrected, we should be seeing a trend that we can easily identify based on what's projected. And I think what's missing is the projection. So maybe we should just get a copy of that and along with these types of reports to see that as this board
So we
evaluates
can
it.
easily do a budget and actual. A budget and actual doesn't look at comparison from year to year, whereas this one did. I inherited this format, but I have no problem.
But I think
giving
it
you
has to be based
budget and
on
actual.
what that study proposes or projects the revenue to be. on
Yeah,
each
that's
one of
what
our
we go by.
facilities, right?
So, yeah, the CDM Smith traffic and revenue, we can provide it
every
to all
year.
board members. And they actually do, we were just looking at this, they do 4 columns. Basically, what I was discussing before, which indicated revenue, this is just straight coming out of the lanes. Then they deduct all these transactions that are not billable, right? And then ultimately they have a last column, which is what is expected revenue, right? And that one deducts everything, including the trends in the collections rate. So you'll have a good comparison through all those columns and the actuals for you to have a good idea whether we're on track or not. But I really do believe that we should report moving forward the indicated revenue versus actuals, because that's just a very straight formula, and it eliminates all this noise. And it's going to be it's a litmus test, right? Are we doing better or worse? You know, are the reservation holds bringing that number down, or are we still going up? And what we're seeing is that variance between the indicated revenue and the actual collected is getting better. So that percentage is going to go down as time goes on.
And those studies, just one more comment, and those studies should take into account the improvements that we're making to the system, right? If we're relieving bottlenecks, if we're adding capacity,
They do.
We have to provide
that should be
those-
incorporated.
We have to provide those numbers to the consultant every month.
They do.
And they do. And we ended up doing a scrubbing of all the different categories that the consultant presented in their report. It's already available. So now it's turning out that, okay, from all those variations, it seems to us that one particular column is what we should go by. And we just completed that research about 2 weeks ago.
So to answer your question, yes, you're correct. It takes into account that. It also takes into account projected lane closures.
Correct.
So that study is very thorough. That firm meets with all departments, IT, engineering, everybody, and we feed them all the information. And they also look at socioeconomical information. So it's a very thorough report.
They use regression analysis for all of those, and they provide all the information to us as
And
well.
so
And we
they're-
use it for the budget as well.
I don't have it in front of me, but I'm pretty sure it's under 2. So
Yeah.
the projections are
They
below
go
what
at
we
least for
actually
10 years. They had to do it for the refunding also, so an estimate.
Board Member Cancio, you recognized.
So something that I think would also be very helpful for us, we don't control our collections. When we discussed this before, you know, we don't have our own in-house. It's not us doing something different, better or worse than other toll agencies. So I would like to see how we compare with the other toll agencies. What are their numbers? What is that percentage? What is it, I think that would be helpful for us, whether in Tampa or in Orlando, because they must have the same issues with collections than we do, since they have the same collection agency. So I would like to see a comparison, which I haven't seen, with other comparable agencies. And then before we leave today, Rafael, I would like an update on the bond, because I see council here in the House. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
Wait, I think Board Member Pages, you
Before.
recognized.
May I suggest that we just go back to the drawing board on what it is you're going to present to the board? This report is nice, and I appreciate it, because it's something that when I was treasurer asked for, but maybe just scrap it and scrap everything and just go back to what it is that you believe that the board needs. Maybe talk to the treasurer, talk to me, talk to the board, find out exactly what kind of numbers we would like to see, and just redo the entire board, the weekly, the monthly, the quarterly board presentation on the finances. And financing, and this presentation should not be an add-on or a request to please do it. It should be part of the agenda every single board meeting, every single board meeting. And we need to go through that report, whatever the final report is. If it's whatever you guys discussed and all the numbers and all the stuff, it's fine. But let's just start from scratch, like we're starting new on the report, because I don't feel like we're getting the right information. I think it's all there. There's a lot of noise, a lot of data, and I appreciate that, and I do. But at least I don't feel like I know exactly what we're doing here. So I
Board
appreciate it.
Member
Thank you.
Espino, you're recognized.
Yeah, I'm no Phi Beta Kappa, but I don't know what I need to learn from this report. I think the format of the presentation should be reanalyzed to tell us something simple that we can see. The format is confusing to me. I don't know what to say, what's good and what's bad. I see a nice drawing with an arrow going up, but then I see negative numbers in another one. So I kind of agree with you. I think the format of the report needs to be modified for simple people.
We certainly agree, and the intent behind this particular exercise is to provide to you the raw data so you could get feedback. So already I got like 3 items that you all agreed on that we're going to go ahead and emulate. So this, the first pass at it was to give it to you so you could give us feedback so we will know exactly what you're looking for and what is convenient for you, because we don't have a problem doing it. It's just that finding, okay, what is it exactly that you want to see? And by giving you all of this, the full population of it, you pick and say, no, I don't want this, this is what I want. And it's getting there. So I appreciate that. I appreciate the feedback. I already took down 3 essential things that you all agree on. So we're going to go forward with those. But that was just the beginning, the inception, and then we refine to get you to where you need to be with those reports.
This report is fine. It's got a lot of data, but it's very hard, at least for me, to swallow. I don't know what I'm looking. I cannot make a judgment. This is good. This is bad. This is terrible. It gets me confused.
Let us take it back. There is something we had been working on. Kevin, I'm looking at you. You know exactly what I'm talking about. There's a much simpler format that we had been throwing around, with kind of very straightforward and kind of the key metrics without having a lot of this stuff here. So we hear you. Let us take it back, and we'll circulate a draft of what that report would look like, and then we can take feedback from the board as to that's the key measures that you're looking at, and then we'll come back at the next.
Good deal.
But I think I understand what you're saying, and we'll work together to get the key metrics that are really going to give you, from a layman terms, this, the health of the system and the health of the agency.
Board Member Peterman, you're recognized? No? You're good.
Yes, if I may, Madam Chair. Treasurer Cancio, I just want to address your question. So as Claudia mentioned, next week I will be presenting before the Florida Transportation Commission, so that report will be made available to you. In addition to that, the FTC will assemble all the information from all the other toll agencies into one report. I will share that with the board as well. And a lot of these metrics that you're looking for, a lot of these comparisons will be in that report. Going forward, that report, we're talking about variance. Each agency has been interpreting that information a little bit differently. So one of the things that we're going to be doing as of after the FTC meeting is sort of to make sure that all 4 of us, CFX, the Turnpike, and GMX are all on the same page, and we're all interpreting the information the same way, so that the information that gets presented to the state is, apples to apples, right? So, but we will share that report, both the GMX report and the bigger report that the FTSC produces with the board. And I think a lot of that noise will be removed from those reports as you see them. The other question, Treasurer Cancio, that you brought up was the Division of Bond Finance, the refinancing issue. We have PFM and our bond counsel here. Our team, our financial team and operations have been working together. We also have brought in the Division of Bond Finance, Ben Watkins from Tallahassee, who's been working with us to try to figure out which path we're going to take, either state restructuring or through the agency. We were trying to get something done by today, but we were not quite ready yet. The devil's in the details. And I just felt that we were rushing the process a little bit. I was not comfortable presenting to the board. So we've taken 30 days to take a deeper look at the refinancing and the timing of that as well. So we'll report back to the board again in October with that. That's what I have, unless you have any other questions on collections or revenue.
Board Member Blanco, you're
The
recognized.
chair, just a quick question. The toll by plate percentage of year comparison of 25 to 26, what is the percentage level? Did it go up? Did it go down?
So the toll by
I
plate's
can't
actually
really tell.
The toll by plate's actually gone up slightly. We used to be around 5149. Now we're the other way around. So it's not trending in the right direction.
And that's
But it's statewide. It's
True of
not.
us communicating on social media and whatever campaigns we've been doing.
Yes, there's some strategies that I'd like to talk offline, obviously with the executive team and with the board individually, of some strategies that we were thinking of wanting to implement that we think can change that trend.
Okay.
Board Member
Just wanted to
Riccon.
bring that to attention.
This is
Thank you.
sort of a separate issue, but does it make sense for us to do a post-analysis on the Freedom Park and what took place during that period? Just to understand what the results were with our preparation. Does that make sense that we should do a post-analysis at some point?
Or is it post, or we still?
It looks like it's ongoing.
It's ongoing. Obviously, we've been working very closely with the developer, with MFP, with FDOT, with Secretary Iglesias and his team, and the county. We've been having, at least we've been trying to have, meetings every couple of weeks, trying to get to an understanding, especially on the traffic study. It's an ongoing process. We're getting closer and closer. I know. I don't know if you want to talk about what we've seen on game days. Do we have data? I know that Jennifer has been working with it with our operations staff. The traffic hasn't been as bad as we anticipated. And I think with all the MOT that went into place, all the planning that went into place with the different stakeholders, I think we've been able to all working together to manage that traffic. So it hasn't been the doomsday scenario that many of us were fearing. However, it's still early in the process. And again, there's a building being built, across the street next to the MFP. The city of Miami headquarters is going to be there, and I think that's going to be adding to the traffic. We don't have their traffic analysis yet, but I don't know, Claudia, do you have any information on the games, what kind of an impact it's had on the system?
Board Member Iglesias, do you want to go first?
Sure, I'll take the lead. So we've actually had a pretty robust coordination effort since the season started with the developer, with the GMX staff, with the county and our team to debrief after every transportation management activity that occurs on the site. They have had a pretty good effort, I must say, in collecting data and trying to manage game day scenarios. They've had mostly weekend matches, but they've also had a couple of weekday evening matches now, which is a key data point for us to understand because obviously the rush hour traffic is higher. And to Rafael's point, I think it's been managed fairly efficiently, given the amount of traffic that we've seen coming in and exiting at the end. They have a couple of key strategies, which I think is helping. One is they have a lot of post-game activities to try to space out the folks from trying to leave at the same time, which I think has helped. The way they've tailored their traffic management plan to have the right law enforcement presence at key locations, and in coordinating with the county to modify signal timing has also helped. And then they have a new firm working with them now to actually continue enhancing the way they manage traffic on the site so that they can get people into the garage and out of the garage more efficiently. I think all of that collectively is helping. I think there is a point in time where all of those efforts are going to hit a ceiling because you can only do so much. So I think that's where the traffic component of this becomes key so that those infrastructure needs can be identified. So we continue that effort kind of as a separate track with them.
Excellent.
Board Member Pages.
There is, the developer did receive a $20 million grant, I think, from the federal government, plus the $5 million or so. I don't know. I don't know how many millions are up to. Has there been any development on the walkway? Since I think we're impacted by that, or maybe not impacted.
Well, we're no longer impacted, and I've actually
Excellent. Good.
there was unfortunately, and as Treasurer Cancio was the one who pointed me in the direction of the Miami Herald. A couple of weeks ago, there was a picture in the Miami Herald talking about that grant, and there was a picture that showed the pedestrian bridge connecting, the tri-rail station to the MFP, and that depiction showed the bridge going right through our parking lot, which was something that we were talking about last year that wasn't going to happen. I have since confirmed with the developer that was an error. The bridge is not going to be going through our parking lot or any part of our property. It's going to connect to the Sheraton Hotel next door, which was purchased by MFP. So that was good because I did have a minor heart attack when I saw that. But that's no longer a concern for us.
Well, thank you for the update. That's a big deal. Last thing, and then I'm done.
Follow-up?
Okay. The bond issuance, obviously the market hasn't been cooperative, so it's okay that we're taking it early. Do we expect, and I'm not putting Sergio on the line or that, but do we expect this to occur in this calendar year, or are we potentially spilling over to the next calendar year? That's first question. Go ahead. And the second question is, it's somewhat related, I appreciate the legal review on the rate increase that came from the law firm. I appreciate that. That was an excellent explanation. There's a couple steps we got to do that to get there. Are we engaging those steps, A, and B, is there any chance that we can get that rate increase or the proposed rate increase in for the next board meeting so we can get it done in this calendar year? Thank you.
So the first question was on the timing of the refinancing. So we're looking at that, Vice Chair. We're looking at the timing of it and when will it make sense to proceed. Again, we were trying to get that done by this board meeting, but we weren't quite there yet. And staff, our financial advisors, and our bond counsel weren't 100% comfortable with us presenting. So hopefully by October, maybe. If not, maybe end of the year, January is sort of what we're targeting. We're looking at rates to see also when that will be to our best interest to do it at that time, because as you pointed out, right now the rates actually went the opposite direction, so we wouldn't really get the benefit that we were hoping to get, 3-4 months ago, maybe. So that was on that. On the CPI question, so the General Counsel's office presented to you with a letter, obviously, which analyzes the authority that you as a board have to implement CPI. So what we have been working with CDM Smith, our consultant, to looking at those, at a traffic study, traffic and revenue analysis. We would need direction from the board as to, giving us the green light to go ahead and start that process, and to potentially bring that back to the board in October at the next board meeting. We need to talk about timing and what will make the most sense. But once the board gives us the green light to go ahead on doing the CPI analysis, then we can get that process started.
All right, okay.
Follow-up, Board Member Pages?
We can move that we proceed on the CPI analysis? Is that?
I would second that.
Do we need to have a motion for that?
Yeah.
Okay. Who second? Who second? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Board.
Yeah,
Peter Van.
the analysis that was done, at first blush, I disagree with the number of votes required for passage. So I don't know if at some point if I can get that better explained to me. I mean, 2/3 is 2/3, it's not more than 2/3, and I just wanted to get a better understanding at some point in the future of what the basis is for the legal opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's and we can expand on it, but it's just there's an ambiguity. There's an ambiguity, and that's why we took the 2/3 versus the supermajority, and just told you, basically, 6 or 7, depending on which way you look at it. The safe, the 100% safe, position is 7. 6 is probably okay, but there's ambiguity in the way that the statute's written. So that was, but we can elaborate.
Yeah, and it's important this time that we make this kind of policy decision and take it as what is an affirmative vote or not, the number of votes, because it'll set a precedent for future votes. So I just want to make sure that we are clear on that before we move in and assume something as being what the required number of votes are.
Yeah, we'll expand on it so you can see in detail why we came to that determination.
Thank you. Board Member Iglesias, did you have a follow? Okay. Are we done with the?
We're done with that. If we can, then we can, I know if you'll indulge us for a few more minutes.
Go ahead.
Chair. We just want to make a short announcement that GMX will launch a virtual vendor day on October the 1st of 2026. This was going to be to introduce our Solvra procurement software program. It's a platform that our procurement office has been working on, which will make the procurement process easier for vendors and for the agency. So that's going to be October 1st. It's going to be announced on our website Thursday, October 1st at 11 a.m. It's going to be via Zoom or Microsoft Teams and WebEx. So anybody who wants to, interested parties who might want to participate in the procurement here at GMX. And then finally, if you'll indulge me for a few more minutes, Madam Chair, I just want to provide an update to the board on the State Road 836 Dolphin Expressway Milling and Resurfacing Program, just in time for the going back to school. Our chief engineer, Andres Beritiartu, just came from the site this morning and has an update.
Good morning, board.
Good morning.
I'll skip my 53 slide presentation. I'll just show you a brief video
You should. Yeah.
from this morning. So this is State Road 836 going westbound this morning between 87th Avenue and 107th Avenue exit. At the last board, we've been talking about adding this 5th additional auxiliary lane, kind of connecting that and kind of removing one of those, that last merge that you have there. Starting last week, we restriped to make room for this additional lane on the outside. And then last night, they put the first layer of asphalt down. Tonight, they're going to put down the second layer of asphalt, which is the final layer of asphalt, and restripe so that by tomorrow morning, all anticipation is we'll have that 5th lane open going right through the gantry and providing some, I think, much needed relief going that westbound direction for 836. So
You weren't
that was the
videoing
update.
and driving, right?
What's that?
You weren't videoing and driving, right?
I plead the 5th on that
Right.
one.
Okay, got it. Safety. Anyway.
He was a passenger.
Exactly. Passenger. Any questions?
He still has 110 more. I plead the 5th before he's in trouble.
This is just in time of for back to school, so this should really provide some very much needed relief in the westbound direction in the afternoon.
And then also this is an interim project. We are working on the long-term solution to provide that additional lane going eastbound, as well as providing the full shoulder in the westbound direction. And those plans are still in design, but we'll finishing them about a year from now and then be able to go into construction for the full-blown project. So.
Board Member Cancio, you're recognized.
Well, I just want everybody to look at that picture. You see that bridge? That's called the Jose Pepe Cancio Bridge.
That's right. That's right.
Former board member.
We know it quite well.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And that's for the executive director's report, Madam Chair. Thank you.
And I think for revenue collections, we're going to bring back the Hawaiian shirt and put board member pages to collect. FDOT used to have the
No, we
Hawaiian
did too.
shirts, the turnpike shirts. We're going to put you out there. You want more revenue collections? I think this is I'm just going to look into that. But anyway, just kidding. All right, next on the agenda, we have informational items. No board actions required. The only item this month is the GMX, which we did. No. Finally, announcements. The GMX board will meet again October 8th, 2026 at 9 a.m. Board members, are there any questions, announcements, staff direction, or comments before we adjourn? Hearing none, I adjourn this meeting at 10:43 a.m. Thank you, board members. Meeting is adjourned.